The warehouse lights flickered as Willow Matthews locked the office door behind her, the cool November air biting at her exposed skin as she stepped into the dimly lit parking lot at 10 past midnight. She had stayed late again, finishing inventory reports for the pharmaceutical distribution company where she worked as a logistics coordinator, never imagining that the shadow moving between the cars belonged to someone who had been watching her for weeks. Her keys jangled in her trembling hand as footsteps echoed behind her, faster than her own quickening pace. Before she could turn, a figure lunged from the darkness, grabbing her shoulder with bruising force. Willow screamed, her voice raw with terror, and swung her laptop bag wildly at her attacker. The man stumbled back, cursing, and she ran toward the only place still lit in the industrial complex, a building 3 lots down where light poured from floor to ceiling windows. She burst through the glass doors, gasping for air, her vision blurring with tears. Strong hands caught her before she collapsed, steadying her with a grip that felt protective rather than threatening. She looked up into storm-gray eyes that belonged to a man in an expensive charcoal suit, his dark hair slightly disheveled as if he had been running his hands through it while working late. "Please," she managed between ragged breaths. "Someone's following me. He grabbed me in the parking lot." The man's jaw tightened, his entire demeanor shifting from concern to dangerously alert. "Stay here," he commanded, his voice carrying the unmistakable authority of someone accustomed to being obeyed. He turned to a security guard stationed near the elevator. "Call the police. Now. And get 2 more guards to escort this woman to safety." Willow watched as he strode toward the doors she had just entered, his movements purposeful and controlled. Through the glass, she could see him scanning the parking lot, his presence alone enough to send her pursuer retreating into the shadows. When he returned 5 minutes later, his expression had softened slightly, though tension still radiated from his tall frame. "I'm Victor Quinn," he said, extending his hand. "I own this building and several others in the complex. The police are on their way. Can you tell me what happened?" She took his hand, surprised by the warmth that flooded through her at his touch. "Willow Matthews, I work 3 buildings down. Someone grabbed me when I was leaving. I just ran, and this was the only place with lights on." Victor guided her to a leather sofa in what appeared to be a luxury lobby, nothing like the utilitarian space where she worked. He disappeared for a moment and returned with a bottle of water and a blanket, draping it over her shoulders with unexpected gentleness for a man who looked like he could command armies. "You're safe now," he said, settling into the chair across from her. "Tell me everything from the beginning." The police arrived 20 minutes later, taking her statement while Victor stood nearby, his arms crossed, listening to every word with an intensity that should have felt intimidating but instead made her feel protected. She explained about the flowers that had appeared on her car windshield over the past 3 weeks, always when she worked late. The notes slipped under her office door with increasingly disturbing messages about how beautiful she looked in her blue dress or how he loved watching her eat lunch by the fountain. She had reported it to her supervisor, who had dismissed it as a harmless admirer. "Harmless," Victor repeated, his voice dripping with controlled anger. "Someone stalked this woman for weeks, escalated to physical assault, and her employer called it harmless." The lead detective, a weathered woman in her 50s, shared his frustration. "We'll patrol the area tonight and review security footage from all the buildings. Miss Matthews, I strongly suggest you don't work late alone anymore. Is there someone who can escort you to and from your car?" Willow shook her head, feeling the weight of her isolation. She had moved to Seattle 6 months ago for